What's up? Friday night is in 2 days. This is Wednesday night in the Earlverse. We took a little hiatus in streaming. Sometimes I actually have to work, but I don't have to work tonight. So I can come back and see how you kids are doing in the Earlverse. It's been a minute. Actually, I think it's been about 5 days. Hey now, Leo Gunn. What up, Blubs? I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean, but we've got some Earlverse favorites. One watching, I know. Welcome to my world, baby. Well, 2 people now. See the numbers. If you build it, they will come. What up, Earl? But I'm okay with just a few people watching because I made more money the last 2 days in a voiceover gig than anyone makes doing super chats. I can assure you of that much. So that's why I can laugh about having 6 people in the stream. That's why I don't panhandle for money with the little change cup. Gimme, 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 gimme. I just watched a Dynamite. I'm not lazy tonight. I could never stream again. And I'm a happy man. But I like interacting with the fans and the freaks. And plus, since, yes, I am still doing Hackamania. Some people think I'm headlining it. But I don't think there is a headliner. As far as I know, the only comics on the show are myself, Pat Dixon, DeVito, Melton, and I think a couple local Las Vegas comics, which I'm sure there will be a few more of them added. Alex Kool-Aid Ansel and I believe Adam Dominguez. But ask all Hackamania questions to Mr. Melton. Yeah, but I love Kevin, but I haven't done MLC in a couple months. Yeah, but I'm talking about comics. I don't believe Tukey is doing a stand-up set. Maybe he will. I don't know. I mean, I don't know Tukey at all. I don't believe I've ever. No, he will not pay what I made doing a voiceover gig the last 2 days. So, that's why I can do these streams and not turn them into an online panhandling session. I'm good on that. Earl, did you see Ray DeVito spurging out last night over Melton? Possibly not. Well, that's between him and Melton. I don't really care what's going on between those two. I would not open for Michael Richards, but I've opened for worse, like in terms of racist or pedophiliacs. What up, Easy 123? If I know someone's a scumbag, I will not open for them. But that's the problem in LA comedy. Well, Michael Richards wasn't a comic. I spoke about that on my Inappropriate Earl this week with Roger Rod. Please check it out if you want to hear 2 old white comics chopping it up. He's a comic actor. So I don't think. I mean, I got some pretty big arms. He's comes from a world of, say your line, there'll be a laugh here, uh, the laugh track kicks in here, you know, your person you're in the scene with will laugh here. They will say this, then it's very structured network television sitcoms. Stand-up comedy is not. Um, and he just wasn't trained properly to deal with the heckler like that. All good ACDC. Um, yeah, I don't think he does that, Leo Gunn. Hit the like button, guys. Come on, we got 12 people in here, which I'm grateful for, but 9 of you are being a little lazy. I don't ask you kids for much because I don't need anything from anyone, but it would be nice. What up, Lexi Graves? He's releasing a new book. Will you read it? I don't read a lot of books, to be honest with you. Thank you for hitting the like buttons, kids. Do the like? I think the likes get you somewhat in the algorithm. The more activity in a stream, uh, the better it looks. I believe Dr. Chow can answer that question better than me. But the more comments, the more likes, the more hearts, or whatever you guys are. There's many ways to help a stream other than financial ways. Obviously, as entertainers and comics and podcasters or whatever you want to call the streaming world, money's money. But, just watching helps. The more views, the better you get in the algorithm, the videos for you section, and stuff like that. Every little bit helps. Yeah, I am the people's champ. I was the people's champ in roast battle. I was. Everyone loved me on I'm Dying Up Here, and I do it for the people. James Painter, I think he did potluck a few times about a year ago. Sorry, easy 1, 2, 3. Um, but it's a little late in the game for someone like him to come back to the store where now you've got people with established TV credits that you can't get in there. I mean, I'm have a fair amount of TV credits. I get one spot a week. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, so someone like Jim Painter who doesn't have one TV credit, anything, it's going to be hard to get back in the mix. You can't in comedy. You can't take a couple years off and then come back. I mean, you can do it, but it's going to be tough. So, Sleazy Trev, uh, I believe you are new to the stream. Welcome, mi amigo. Earl Bobby Levy said yesterday on Vince. I don't even know who Vince is, but that he believes Shuli is 8.5 out of 10 as far as a stand up, and Artie Lang is a 10 out of 10. I've never seen Shuli do stand up. I've only seen Shuli roast, and I would say Shuli as a roaster, not roast battler, but as a roaster was a 10 out of 10. I know that's not popular to say to some of you people in the stream, but like he killed at the Ric Flair roast, which is available on Fight TV, I believe, still. I've never seen Artie do stand up. So, I mean, obviously he's pretty famous for doing it, but I can't answer that part of the question. But in full disclosure, Steezy Trev, I don't watch stand up. I don't want. I couldn't tell you if Matt Rice funny. I couldn't tell you. I mean, the last 2 specials I've watched over the last 5, 6, 7 years were Jeselnik's last special, which I thought was amazing. Well, I've watched 3 specials: Jeselnik's, Bo Burnham, and Brendan Schaub's first special. Well, thank you, Daniel M. Oh, I don't know, on a Fight Companion chat. Well, maybe they don't let links in the Fight Companion chat. That I don't know. Um, Earl, I heard he came back. Oh no, I'm not. I love Jim Painter, like one of my favorite comics too. I do know who Jim Stansel is, See, I don't even know who Vince the Lawyer is, and that's not me playing dumb. I honestly don't know who he is. He is not the king of LA comedy. I can assure you of that much. I cut over from a 4.5 hour Rogan podcast. Well, I appreciate that. I can tell you this much right now: this stream will not be 4.5 hours. Bet on that. ACDC 5150 $1.99. Sloppier guitarist Ace Frehley or Jimmy Page. Oh boy, that's a tough one. I mean, I would say a drunk Ace Frehley is pretty sloppy. I've seen it live many a time, so I would go Ace Frehley there. I would say Ace is sloppy. Jimmy Page is more unstructured. Um, so I've been on a real Steve Stevens kick lately, for the record. Um, it's wild you don't watch stand up. That's like a musician not listening to music. Not really. Are you ready to rock? Uh, I want to do stand up. Um, so I don't want to watch it. Like, obviously, I'm not on Tom Brady's level as a comic, but like, I imagine Tom Brady doesn't watch football or go to a football game. It's probably the last thing on earth he wants to do, even in retirement. And I never want to hear another comic's setups or joke topics. Like, I never watch who's going on in front of me um, at the Comedy Store. I don't want to hear one single joke they do. Because then what if I have a joke about a similar topic? And then it's in my head, well, I don't want them to think I was listening to the last comic. I knew my shit. And you either like it or you don't. Did you stop watching comedy after seeing Shop? Basically. Um, who is your favorite guy to have interview me on YouTube? Um, hmm. Let me see. I mean, I've been a part of some great podcasts. Yours, Dr. Chow, is up there. I just did an interview about the art of roasting with Rafi Kohan. I mean, I've done hundreds of interviews. Never really had a bad interview because I'm a great guest, to be honest with you. I mean, 25 years in LA stand up, on TV enough to talk about being on TV. My personal life, multiple gangbang stories. I mean, I thought, I love Little Mirror, Dr. Chow, but, he was a little drunk in that interview. So he was kind of interrupting my flow a little bit. It might have been a better interview with just you and me, but I love Little Mirror, but it was just like, since I'm stone cold sober, I have trouble talking with people who are a little loaded, to be honest with you. Better. No, yeah, but that's because they have to. Are you ready to rock? Like, I'm talking if Tom Brady has an off night, like let's say let's take a quarterback who's still in the league, Russell Wilson. So the Steelers have a hardcore practice Wednesday. Thursday they have off. I don't think Russell Wilson's watching ESPN football. He's like, the last thing he wants to do is watch football. Now, maybe he watches football. I don't know. I liked Dizzy Dean Davidson. I mean, although a lot of people say Bite Down Hard, Kongzilla was the best Britney Fox album, but it did not sell very many um, units, as they say. If I buy a Hackamania ticket using code Earl, will you be offing gash? I don't know. I don't know what offing gash means. Not really. I was never a big Bill Cosby fan. Tommy Morse 1 and 2 are the best interviews I've ever done. It really specifically one. I mean, I had every big name comic in LA going, that first Tommy Morris episode. I don't listen to podcasts. That should be required listening for any comedy fan, comic, or booker. I've had bookers come up to me and go, thank you for at least exposing him. Um, Dang, Earl has done double penetrations. It might be a bit more than double, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, that was Daniel. Thank you very much. Well, it's just, I don't like doing podcasts with 3 people because it's just too many voices to, like, 2 people, you pick up like when I did Adam Carolla's show, and that was a fun show. Uh, that was once I got his pacing down, I knew when to speak and, feed off of when I could tell when he was about to end a sentence, so I would start one. Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much. The first one's like I said, should be required listening for any comedy, and it's episode 93 of Inappropriate Earl. Um, if you're a comedy fan, if you're a comedy store fan, if you're a stand-up comic, if you are a booker, I don't think I've ever seen P. Diddy there in 24 years of going up there. No, I don't suck dick, that is for sure. I know, I won't have a cigarette, but I'll be in a gangbang with 9 of my buddies. Well, that's, AC/DC 5150. I don't like to get into, people's, private lives, uh, with, their mates. What about the old Ian Bagg and Earl hockey show talk? I love Ian Bagg. He gave me one of my first breaks writing on his talk show. Well, I just don't like watching comedy. Like, I'd rather watch Survivor or wrestling. Um, I watched a little bit of my friend's special, like literally 1 minute of it. Alex Edelman is a new special that you guys should check out on HBO. I've done a lot of shows with Alex. So I thought, oh, let me check it out. And so, I think that, um, I'd rather watch a hockey game than someone else's stand-up special. Uh, well, thank you, Dylan. I mean, I do anyone's podcast. I never met Conan O'Brien. I do think he's funny. I like that kind of dry, assholey kind of humor, to be honest with you. Hey, shout out for Ryan Reeves for scoring a goal in the last game of the season. Uh, but some people love to soak up all they can about comedy. You know, I'd rather write. I'd rather go online and try and come up with joke ideas than watch someone else's stand up. Uh, oh, Attell's a beast. I got to do bumping mics with him. No Jeff Ross, just me and Attell at the Comedy Store for about 10 minutes, maybe about a year ago, and it was fucking awesome. Uh, he's, um, someone whose style I guess I would be in alignment with. So, I could probably learn a little bit from watching him, but I don't wanna if I hear him do a joke about Trump and I wanna do a joke about Trump, I don't wanna rip him off. Uh, I would not go on Jeff's podcast. He would never have me on. Like, he just wouldn't. So, I mean, I had him on my podcast, and it was frankly probably the laziest interview I've ever had. Like, I was trying to get him to talk about Charlie Barnett and the New York comedy scene, and he gave me the bare minimum, you know. So, I mean, and you can watch it. I forget what episode it was, but I was really excited. Oh, we can talk about roasting and roast battle and New York comedy, and it was literally like the whole time he was in my house, you could tell he didn't want to do it. It's like, well, why'd you tell me to do it? If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But like, this is almost unreleasable. I don't know Joe's stand up. I think I listened to his first comedy album. It had a pink cover, maybe like '06, '07. I liked it, but I think the last comedy album I've listened to is probably Robert Schimmel's. I don't know if it was his first album, but I really um, liked it. I listened to Dennis Miller's first comedy album a while back. I like that. I would love to have Hulk Hogan on the Earlverse. Uh, I don't. I mean, she could have meant. I'll guess that she meant dark humor. Like I do dark humor at the Comedy Store that I wouldn't do at, say, the Improv or Laugh Factory. I think the crowd um, lends itself to more darkness at the Comedy Store, and so I enjoy that. I mean, I think Joey might embellish some stories, but I think on the most part, they are true. I mean, he's lived a fucking wild life, man. So I think, yeah, not really though. I really didn't listen to Schneider's stand up on the, like, because while he was on, to be honest with you, I had to like set up the merch booth and get someone wanted to buy a T-shirt or whatnot. Um, so I didn't really listen to Rob's stand up, but like I never sat in the crowd or backstage and listened because a lot of people kind of don't realize what the opening act's gig is. It's not just doing 20 minutes before Rob goes on. It's as soon as you're done, you bring Rob up, you go set up the merch stuff, you itemize everything, and people are in the lobby going to the bathroom or whatever, so you're selling them shirts and then you got to run back out on stage. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming. Rob will be in the lobby signing autographs and taking pictures. Blah blah blah. So there's not a lot of time for me to sit there and listen to comedy. Hold on, I'm getting a text here. I must answer. So ask away questions. Um, um, so I don't have a producer. If I get a text, I've got to answer it by myself. Joey's great. I've done his podcast. I think it was episode 666. Ironically enough, I do not do that. I come up with everything on my own. Um, uh, ACDC, are you reading my text? I because I don't I work well with others, but what I find funny, most comics don't, like 80s metal and pro wrestling. So I'm not gonna spitball jokes to people I know don't think it's funny. Uh yeah, I mean like I said, my podcast I did, or Joey's podcast I did with Lee, I don't know, I just wish it would have been me and Joey just because you know, when I'm going on someone else's podcast, I'm very subservient to them. And hey, this is your podcast, so I'll go at your pace. So sometimes Joey would ask me a question, but Lee would say something, and then I'd kind of wait, and then the answer to Joey's question lost a little bit of the steam if it would have just been me and Joey. But I don't. I don't criticize anyone else's podcast. Oh, yeah, 100%. I had writers on Roast Battle, but everyone did. The only person to not use writers on Roast Battle was Mike Lawrence. Oh, it's nothing personal with Lee. He's a great guy and a very funny comic, but I just find when there's three people on a podcast, it's just much better if um, it's two people. Hey, Earl, what do you think about this? And then I can answer right away. But if it's three people, hey Earl, what do you think about this? And then the co-host or the producer, or whatever, they kind of chime in, and then I've got to wait, and then there'll be like this awkward energy exchange between me and the co-host where it's like, okay, Earl, answer the question. It's like, well, the question would have been a lot better answered 40 seconds ago. Oh, I don't think he sucks. I'm talking about um, in general. I just prefer it to be ask a question, answer it. Yes, Joey's a big Miami Vice guy. So the wrestler Kamala Harris. No, I'm just kidding. Um, hold on here. Does Earl love Miami Vice? Yes, it's not the shitty movie, but I love Michael Mann. But that movie was just basically like a shitty Bad Boys. Um, well, yeah, I mean Lee at the time, and I don't know what he is now, but like, and Joey obviously smokes pot and edibles, and Lee does too. So they have good chemistry because they're both on that same mental wavelength of that high kind of stoner, delayed response, delayed question and answer thing. Whereas I'm completely sober, so if someone asks me a question, I answer right away. So yes, James Sugar Bear Harris. Um, so hold on here. I do love everything 80s. Mason and Portland. I disagree with that. Mason and Portland. I think the best Michael Mann. Me and Addicted to Profits should talk business, or someone get him in the stream. I think the best Michael Mann movie by far and away is uh, Thief with James Caan, 1980, followed up by Heat. Uh, the Virtual Red Band. I love Red Band. That's a good dude. I smoke weed and work from home every day, all day, and I'm over 50. Well, yeah, I'm not against smoking weed, but I just, I'm talking about in the parlance of, um, like when you have two people who smoke weed, like Joey and Lee, and then I'm in there and completely stone cold sober. Uh, it can be distracting, because you've got two different response times. Like I think two stoners is a great, like Lee and Joey together are great, but like when you throw, I can't even say, "Are you ready?" That I don't like the feeling. I've never done it. I've literally never had a cigarette, a drug, or drink in my life. So I'm glad I haven't, because I'm an addictive personality. Like I work out. I'll be working out after this stream. Most people could say I can take a night off. I can't. It's my drug. Energy drinks are my drug. Um, so, hey, speaking of energy drinks, hold on. So I'm afraid if I ever did drugs, I would like it too much. So, I mean, at 55, I work out to maintain at this point. Um, So, I mean, I'm not, it's pretty hard to build mass when you're 55 and you're natural. Now, if I was roiding or taking growth hormones or, HGH or whatever, I probably could. But for 55, I look amazing, my body. But even I have a bit of a tummy now, and I can't work out any more than I can naturally. I mean, tomorrow night, I'm taking yoga the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I do weights. And I still have a bit of a tummy. So, uh, but naturally, there's nothing more I can do. Like literally, I eat well. I rarely eat junk food, and even if I eat junk food, it'll be like a Taco Bell steak quesadilla. Now that's certainly not healthy, but it's relatively healthy. Um, I'm natty 52, 162 pounds, lean but not bulky at all. Them days are gone. What up, Greg Jarnigan? But, there's also different everyone has a different point of what healthy is. Like, when I was a trainer in the '90s, I was pretty fucking jacked. Natural, my testosterone was, I was 25 or whatever I was. And in West Hollywood, I had an amazing body. Like I had one of the best bodies in the gym. And then I started training people at Gold's Gym in Venice, and the trainers there would fucking laugh at me. I was skinny at Gold's Gym. You're talking, that really is the mecca of bodybuilding. It's like going to Canada to play hockey. So I had the same body, but driving 5 miles east, I was laughed at for my body. Yeah, but even the fitness guys at Gold's Gym, like a Mike O'Hearn, he's fucking gigantic. And the trainers were all ex bodybuilders, most of them, not all, but most on roids. A few guys who were in the movie Over the Top were trainers there. They played the arm wrestlers. Uh, well, you should have seen me the one time I got my hair straightened and I walked into the gay gym I worked at the time. Like the whole gym stopped. Que Paso E unit. Sorry, Carlos, I'm just reading that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I eat. I mean, if I do anything bad, it's that I do eat late at night because I'm up late at night. But I also don't go to sleep till 4 or 5 in the morning. So if I have a meal at say 2 a.m., that most nutritionists would be like, "Bro, that's fucking crazy." But I'm also not going to sleep for another 3 hours. So well, I don't know if I shoot ropes like Peter North. I mean, but I do agree with you, beloved chatter. But it's also garbage in, garbage out. I do sleep in the day. What's good? Sour milk. Um, ropey loads. That's why I love this stream. I'd rather talk about ropey loads than the Dabbleverse, to be honest with you. Um, but it's really working out. It all boils down to garbage in, garbage out. You can eat Snickers bars and be shredded if you burn the calories. Now that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's I mean, I'm going to work out tonight at let's say the stream ends at 9:30. Um, I'll work out for an hour on my elliptical. I'll probably be hungry after that, so I'll probably eat a meal at 11:15. But I literally won't go to bed till probably 4 a.m. So I can do that. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Rock is. Listen, I've seen him work out at Equinox before. His workout regimen is impressive. I mean, I would guess it's physically impossible naturally to get that big at the Rock's age. What is he? Mid 40s? I would guess he's on some type of either TRT or whatever he would take. I mean, you cannot get that way naturally. You just can't. Yeah, but I don't care what time he gets up or what time he works out. Like you cannot get that big. Like you just can't, man. That's good stuff, Boulder Johnny. Oh, The Rock is 51. Yeah, I mean, well, I'm 55, but basically around the same age. Um, so yeah, I mean, I eat a fair amount of eggs. Well, I don't know. I mean, if I had to guess what The Rock could be on, I would say yes. Thank you, Sour Milk. Smash the like button, you jabronis, and thank you. I know we had one tipper. Thank you, ACDC 5150, a frequent super chatter in the Earlverse stream. I do appreciate that. Um, I mean, like Saturday night, I'll give you a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I go on at 12:15. Everyone runs the light at the store, or most everyone. So I'll probably go on at 12:45. I'll do an hour. I'll be hopefully the show goes well. It usually does. So I'll be pumped up and adrenaline. and it takes a couple hours for the adrenaline to leave. So, once again, I'll probably eat at 2 a.m., go to Mel's Diner, Swingers, which is another diner. A lot of comics go. Um, so, I won't go to bed till 4 or 5, probably 5 or 6 on a Saturday night. Um, so, good evening, Spurg Snake. Yeah, it's a nice amount of people in here. I'm still fucking with the idea of what time to do these streams. Yeah, I mean TRT, peptides. I mean maybe a little HGH. You know, there's D-ball, there's Anavar. Have you gone to Sambo's lately? The last time I went to Sambo's in Santa Barbara was with my ex, maybe about it was during the pandemic, so 3 years ago. I can't get a fucking hello, Earl. You got to pay for it, Jay Santos. I'm just kidding. Hello. Um, so, but I don't want to juice up. I mean, why the fuck would I juice up at 55 years old? Like, I'm happy with how I look, and that ultimately is what it boils down to. I don't want to look like Mike O'Hearn. I don't want to look like who was that guy who died, Rich Plana? Like, I wouldn't want to look like that. Fuck that. And that's not putting those guys down. Uh, if I had to pick a pro wrestler who I'd like to look like, I mean, maybe a slightly smaller version of Kenny Omega. Like, he's jacked, but he's not overly jacked. Jay White's got a great body, but I don't know. It is no, it's not a Kiss Avatar shirt, but it just a 2003, 2004 shirt. I would not want to look like Big Papa Pump. Um, Bruv, what about me? What do you mean, Boulder Johnny? Melted white chocolate bar. Oh, thank you. I love this shirt. Again, you might be new to the stream. Well, I looked into testosterone replacement therapy, and then it was just like it wasn't for me. The guy's like, yeah, it'll work, but then once you start taking it, you can't stop. So I was like, I'm good on that. And like, your testicles will shrink. I'm like, I'm good. Like, my dick works fine. No, I'm not gonna lie to you, it works a lot better. Um, earlier in the evening. So you ever listen to Dr. Drew and Adam Carolla? I've never been a radio guy. I mean, really the last show that I consistently listened to was the Drudge Report radio show on Sunday nights from 7 to 10. Yeah, I think I could. I mean, I don't know. He's 20 years younger than me, maybe younger. How old is Will Ospreay? Yeah, I listened to Drudge for the full 3 hours, and then maybe I would say maybe the first hour of Art Bell. I used to listen to Hannity before he just went too nuts for me. Art Bell was great. He was like trolling his callers, and they had no idea. And Drudge was trolling his crawlers. So, what about German in Venice on YouTube? I don't know who that is, to be honest with you. I don't even really watch a lot of streams anymore. I used to. I probably listen the most to MLC. A little bit of Melton in the morning, but when Melton is on, I'm usually sleeping. I like George Norrie, and it was a hard gig to replace Art Bell. It's like Corolla replacing Howard Stern. It's just as great as Corolla is, he wasn't Howard Stern. But then he found his footing with his own show, and now he's great. I had such a good time on Corolla. Hit the like button, Ogain, and any of the other newbies, please. For entertainment, it was. Well, who's the new guy now? I listened to it the other night. and I didn't recognize the name. Well, I wasn't a big George Norrie guy. I mean, I maybe listened here and there to him, but Art Bell was just like you can't replace Art Bell. Um, I mean, that was just his medium. You know. Oh, Osprey's like number 25. I appreciate that. Again. But Nori did a good job given, the task that he was assigned. Hey, you got to take over for a radio legend. Um, I got to disagree. Earl George was handed the number one late show, and he uses. Well, I but it's like, well, so is Corolla. You know, it's hard to take over. It's like when the Islanders fired Al Arbor. That's a pretty tough task to take over a guy who won 4 straight cups. Um, and Art Bell was the number one show because of Art Bell. So you take out Art Bell, anyone, not just George Norrie, anybody was not going to do as well because he simply wasn't Art Bell. And it's funny. Are you ready? You bring up Randy Rhoads. It's very similar. Most people love Randy Rhoads as Ozzy Osbourne's favorite guitar player. And you look at the guys who followed him, Brad Gillis, Jakey Lee, obviously Zach Wilde, Joe Holmes, and whoever plays for Ozzy now. Um, it's, Jakey Lee's biggest problem was he wasn't Randy Rhoads. So I think that's what I mean, AC/DC, when you look at the people who replace, Stern, Corolla. Look at the Man Show, Corolla and Kimmel, and then you had Rogan and um, Doug Stanhope, 2 great comics, but like their problem was they weren't Corolla and Kimmel. It's like the same thing with you know all the people who replaced Carson. Leno got a lot of shit, and Leno was a great talk show host. His problem was it wasn't Johnny Carson. And then even when Leno left, uh, you know, his replacements, well, they're not Jay Leno. Look at Ace Frehley. Vinnie Vincent is a much better guitar player than Ace Frehley. His problem was uh, he wasn't Ace Frehley. Stanhope's awesome to me every time I see him. I mean, I don't think he knows my name, to be frank. But every time I've seen him, he gives me a hug. Hey, bro, how you doing? I don't find him that funny. Like, obviously, he's incredibly funny, but I just he doesn't do it for me. Um, so I don't know who John Wells is. Uh, yeah, but I just find Corolla very funny. But you're right, though, Nick. I mean, no one did replace Carson Daly on that show. Um, Yeah, but I mean, Chevy Chase probably leaned more into the Johnny Carson personality. Um, I mean, I thought I liked Chevy Chase's talk show. Um, but everyone's different, and but it is going back to me and ACDC's. I mean, not that we were arguing, but um, in terms of Nori and Art Bell, I mean, this Art Bell was so iconic in that role that the callers never changed, but you take Art Bell out of it, um, it's like anything. Look at look at the movie Predator, which you all know I love deeply. You take Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers and that whole cast from Predator 1 out of Predator 2, and Predator 2 just wasn't as good. And all the other sequels and prequels and spinoffs, their problem was good scripts, some of them, but that first cast had such an amazing chemistry uh, that it just wasn't the same. Look at the first 3 Star Wars. Yeah, I mean, the ones from the 70s, 77 to 82, I mean, they just were perfect, man. And then you add in the recent Star Wars with the CGI and all the special effects and bullshit. Their problem to me is they're just not the first 3 Star Wars. You have any good OJ stories, Earl? Not really. I mean, he was my neighbor growing up in Bel Air, but, he threw the football around with me and my dad, but then he moved to Brentwood pretty early on into my childhood. I wasn't in the white Bronco, I was driving it. Pew! Hit the like button, you tax cheats. Uh, well, I mean, it's funny you say who's gonna replace OJ, but if you look at there's never been another OJ trial because that OJ trial was really, um, just like the characters have just never been replicated. Even a guy like fucking Cato was funny in that trial, and you obviously the defense team, and then the prosecution had their own characters, Marsha Clark and Chris Darden, and um, it was just like the perfect trial at the perfect time. I mean, but that is not my favorite trial. My favorite trial, I think, was in '88, the Four on the Floor murders with John Holmes, Eddie Nash, Greg Dial. Who was Eddie Nash's 300-pound ex NFL player bodyguard. Um, it was like the OJ trial before the OJ trial. What was that, 6 years before that? How many movies have been made about Eddie Nash and John Holmes? Boogie Nights, a loose version of the real story. And then you had Wonderland with Val Kilmer. Um, I would not pay 750 grand for that Bronco. I'd rather fucking buy a McLaren or something. Um, so, but the OJ, you look at trials after the OJ trial, the Menendez brothers, it just wasn't as good. Um, although that was pretty close. I am looking into a Bronco, to be honest with you. I'm very much looking into a new Ford Bronco. They have a vintage new Ford Bronco. It's a 2024, but it looks like a 70s Bronco. But you're in trouble when on the website it says call for price. And someone said, "Damn, you were rich. What did your parents do?" We were not rich, actually. I don't talk about my upbringing that much in terms of the finances, but um, I would. My dad built a home in Bel Air in the 1960s when Bel Air was really nothing more than a hillside, and there was a famous Bel Air fire that burnt down literally 95% of the homes in Bel Air. I mean, my dad was literally on the roof of his house, cops and firemen telling him, "Get the fuck out of here, man. This place is going to burn down." And he was on the roof with a garden hose. And he was like, "Fuck that. My house ain't burning down." And it was an average house. But then, our house didn't burn down. And this is before I was born. So, um, then Bel Air in the '70s just, almost decade by decade just blew up in terms of, I mean, these were some of my neighbors growing up in Bel Air. Harry Nielsen lived across the street from us. He's generally acknowledged as the fifth Beatle. OJ lived down the road from us. Elvis, I believe, 10550 Roca Place, if you look that up, was Elvis's last known address. He was our neighbor. Who else? James Caan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And then in the '80s, Stallone moved right down the street from us. Gloria Vanderbilt lived there before he did. Um, and then in the '90s, when we were no longer living there, you started getting pro athletes. And Johnny Carson lived a couple miles to the east of us. So we were lucky. We were very lucky. Like my dad bought a membership to Bel Air Country Club like in the late '50s, I think for like $1,200. And I think the dues there now, the dues, just the dues are like 3 grand there a month. And I think a membership is, I think it's like a couple 100 grand or something. So, we weren't rich, but we were just lucky. Like everywhere we went, we got in right before it got popular. Uh, well, I mean, it's definitely interesting. I took a dump in the gym, and the giant would be proud. Oh, Andre, good for you, I guess. Oh yeah, I mean, I was a pretty good golfer as a kid. I mean, I was no Tiger Woods, but Mac Davis, who his locker was next to my dad's. I would see him a lot. Of course, he was in my favorite sports movie of all time, North Dallas 40. Howard Keel from Dallas was friends with my father. These are older celebrities, obviously. Tom Snyder, the talk show host. Marantz, I'll message you later, bud. Was your caddy black? No, we didn't have caddies. My dad it was just me and my dad. Oh, good for you, Sheriff Numbskull. I didn't never met Bob Hope. Good night, John Ray. Thank you for chiming in, coming in. What other celebrities were at Bel Air? I mean, Bel Air wasn't really known at the time for celebrities, where I think now it is. I mean, the three main country clubs in LA are LA Country Club, which has two 18-hole courses that border Wilshire Boulevard. You have Bel Air Country Club that's deep into Bel Air, and you have in the Pacific Palisades Riviera Country Club, which I believe OJ was a member of. I'm not sure on that. Um, but Bel Air was never really like they didn't let Michael Jordan join back when my dad was a member. Like that's Bel Air in a nutshell. I never met Bob Super Dave Osborne Einstein, but I'm a fan. So yeah, I mean, Bel Air was very inclusive. Like they didn't almost want celebrities. Well, Ray Bolger was also a celebrity there. He was what was he? The Cowardly Lion in The Wizard of Oz. I would always see him uh, up there playing 9 holes late at night. Mac Davis was awesome, man. Like he was super nice. I'm trying to think of. It is. I think in the late '80s, Bel Air. I met Wayne Gretzky, Ken Danico, and Mark Messier on the putting green one time. And the gentleman who arranged that was Don the Duke Klosterman, who was the GM of the Los Angeles Rams at the time and one of my dad's good friends. Trying to think who else. I mean, UCLA, and it still might be, I'm not sure though, is the home course. Bel Air Country Club is the home course of the UCLA golf team. So I got to see some young pros there before they were big, like Corey Pavin, Jay Delsing, Duffy Waldorf, before they became established pros. So that was kind of cool. Um, that was not Bel Air Country Club. I believe that was Encino Country Club. Thief is a great movie. Uh, might be a little boring to some, to the kids today because there's no fucking CGI or any of that bullshit. But it's especially when you consider that, and this is just the genius of Michael Mann. If you remember Thief and the heavy set detective in there was John Santucci, who in real life was a real jewel thief. So they used John Santucci's actual safe tools in the movie, which just added to the authenticity. And another one of the dirty cops and thief was Dennis Farina, who in real life was a Chicago beat cop, and um, he actually arrested John Santucci in real life. Um, So, that I think is why Michael Mann movies do so well because he goes that extra mile. Yes, James Belushi was in Thief. Great movie. I mean, but like I said, um, not you know like kids today would see that and probably just wouldn't be into it. Like, what is this shit? There's no explosions. Well, there's a lot. The nightclubs are back in full swing, the bars, and so I think that the thieves know this is where a lot of money is, and it's permit parking for me, or not for. Well, yeah, I guess it is for me, but I also think that um, the thieves know. So people's cars get towed all the time because it's towing after 7. So you got a bunch of people fucking stumbling around drunk. They're not really aware of their surroundings, and they get robbed. They're the perfect victims. Uh, yes, he does know what fat Americans like on the big screen. You got to have the big money, Dr. Chow, to date those twats. Oh, I'm used to getting hit on by dudes. I don't mind. I mean, The Warriors and Outsiders, solid movies. DJ, do you agree? I mean, I don't know anyone's sexuality in the Dabbleverse, and to be honest with you, I don't really care. Um, so I've actually, me and Melton, I don't believe we've ever met. We were on some Red Band shows at the Ice House back in the day, but we neither one of us recall talking to each other. So this will be my first time meeting Melton, Ray, and Pat Dixon. I don't really care about Jeff anymore. Believe me, he has nothing in life I want. I mean, nothing. I mean, I go on when I go on, man. We're gonna go for about another 5 minutes, just because, you know, I like doing hour streams. I don't do 5-hour streams to try and get money from you guys. I mean, we've done an hour basically, and I have made $2. So I'm clearly not streaming for money. And thank you, ACDC, for that $2. Uh, so, well, I mean, West Hollywood, and here's the crazy thing about West Hollywood is I live literally, I could throw a baseball or shoot a hockey puck into um, the sheriff's parking lot. They are literally a tenth of a mile that way. No, not really. I mean, even if I'd made $100 in this stream, I like doing hour streams. Like, I want you guys to want more. I mean, a lot of these streams, it's just they're clearly doing multiple hours because they're just trying to bilk you guys for money. So I did like the gentleman Chris Adams, Elway brought in Dark Side of the Ring last night. I mean, he was a fucking drunk man. And just couldn't control his demons. But that pro wrestling, man, it's a dark fucking world, bro. Uh, no, but Bola Johnny, I don't want you to. I don't want people. There's many other ways to support a stream other than cash. It's not like if you super chatted me $5, $10, $2, I'm going to go tomorrow and buy a Porsche. Um, yes. Oh, I would never do those streams anymore late night. I mean, I sound fucking old, but it's just. Um, I mean, West Hollywood's a dangerous area. Well, I'm not. To be honest with you, I'm not talking about Kevin really, but like, it's just that. Like, listen, I look at super chats and memberships and all that shit. Super thanks, I guess you can do on videos. It's just a way of saying, "Hey, Earl, thank you for your time." Um, I mean, I talk for a living, so to do a stream for an hour is pretty easy. Yeah, I won't be going near Crenshaw, I can assure you of that. Um, so, yeah, I mean, like I said, you can hit the like button, that's free. You can retweet if you see me post on Twitter. Uh, yeah, well, I don't tell people who to talk about, so you guys can mention names in the stream. Well, I listen, I mean, in terms of Jeff, he is what he is. You know, he's a show mercenary. He goes from show to show, takes all the meat off the bone, and then leaves the people who created the show with nothing. I wouldn't want to do that. So, I mean, how many people can name a roast battle in the last 5 years? You know, you don't know about that, dude. Like, I don't believe anything he tells, but I also don't listen to any interviews he does. So I'm not going to lie to you, Daniel. I don't know about the ghost story he told. Uh, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's comics who went to P. Diddy's parties. I mean, comics like pussy. So I'm sure there was an ample amount of that there. Um, so would you rather stay in John Wayne Gacy's house or Dahmer's? Well, most of the vacancies were in the actual house. Now, if you ask me if I'd like to stay in John Wayne Gacy's floorboards, I might pick Dahmer's. But I think I was above the age limit that either one of those guys sought, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I'm not. But see, are you ready? I'll never ask for money. Um, so, pew. I mean, listen, William Zoom had the best analogy. I'm a bartender. If you like what I do, tip. If you don't, listen. If you like what I do, but it's financially not um, possible at the moment to donate or whatever, tip. Hit the like button. Share on YouTube. Hit subscribe if you haven't done so. I mean, there's a lot of ways to help a stream. So you bring up what you make each night, though. But you guys talk about it. So, I mean, I'm a straight shooter. I mean, that could happen, Boulder Johnny. Now, they better not do it at Rogan's Club because all the security guys are like jujitsu guys. So if you're going to pick a fight at a comedy club, the mothership is not one to Dick Fitzwell, $2, Iron Eagle or Top Gun. Yeah, but are you ready? I'm gonna go with Iron Eagle. Now, obviously, Top Gun's the much bigger movie, but Iron Eagle starring Tim Thomerson, Comedy Store paid regular. Thank you very much. Oh no, but are you ready to rock? See, and I know you're a longtime fan of mine, so I'm not saying this in an aggressive way, but if you look at most of my streams on YouTube are about an hour, maybe an hour and 5, hour, 10 minutes. Very few are over 2 hours. So my point to you and everyone else is, if I was trying to bilk you guys for money, I'd stay on for 3 or 4 hours and just sit there and like answer. You know. I mean, I'm doing this. My main goal in doing these YouTube streams is to build up a name brand on YouTube. So when someone puts in Earl Skakel, here's all these streams. Elway Broughton 7, 9.99. Chris Adams, Gino Hernandez were world class championship wrestling with Von Erichs. Boo Ray just happened to be there for his girlfriend in self defense. Well, I mean, I grew up watching world class championship wrestling. I mean, if you look at some of the guys in there, Elway, you had Iceman King Parsons, Colonel De Beers, the Freebirds, the Von Erichs, Ultimate Warrior when he was Dingo Warrior. Um, who else? Scott Hall when he was a Diamond Stud. I think Ric Flair was in World Class Championship Wrestling. Bruiser Brody, Harley Race. So they are undiscovered organization that doesn't get talked about enough. And if you watch the Iron Claw, you would think there was just the Von Erichs, the Freebirds, and Bruiser Brody. I mean, that Ric Flair guy was horrible. It's just the laser gun's a little fun, to be honest with you. So before I leave, I'd like to thank my tippers. Oh, sorry about that. This is carbonated. My bad. ACDC 5150, Dick Fitzwell, and Elway Broughton 7. And I love Gino Hernandez. He was like the Hispanic Ric Flair, I guess you'd say, but gone way too soon at 29 years old. So, um, but I loved World Class Championship Wrestling, and I love the announcer, and just unfortunately for a company like World Class Championship Wrestling, you had a guy like Steve Austin, you just go fuck it and go to WCW. Love you too, Elway Broughton 7. And then, I think when Chris Adams went to WCW, he was at the tail end of the rope. So, it was tough because they weren't a small company, but they weren't as big as WWE, WWF at the time. So, I disagree there, ACDC 5150. I love Gino Bisconte, but Gino Hernandez should have been more known. But, another guy who couldn't control his demons. So, who's your Mount Rushmore of wrestling heels? This will be the last question I answer, but it's a good question. I would absolutely say Rick Rude. Ric Flair is a heel. Nikita Koloff has a heel. And I gotta say MJF is a heel. Like, I've seen him live. If I can't say MJF and I have to, pick older guy, I mean Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan was fucking awesome, man. Like, he was great. So I tell you what, guys, thank you to everyone for tuning in. We're gonna do this tomorrow night. Let's say 8 p.m. tomorrow night. I figure since Pat Dixon is at least temporarily not on YouTube, that maybe I could hit his time slot and see, if I can maybe this is my new time slot. So I love you guys. Thank you for the 40 likes. I really appreciate that. And the 16 people in here now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for the tippers and the super chats. Are you ready to rock? Keep on coming back, man. I was not offended by anything you said. I only bring up the money from time to time to, because people don't understand how streaming works. And, but I will never ask you guys for money. So that is all. Earl Skakel over and out. The Earl stream is out.